Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello and good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to my show. This is Balanced Life with me, your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle. I'm conversations that connect to a healthier you. And I have a conversation today that's going to connect us to a healthier you. I'm sure of it. That's what I do. I seek out people in the world of health and wellness that are doing wonderful things to get the message out, and I found that person today. But before we get started, a couple of things. I want to remind you that I am a health and wellness coach and a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. And, you know, just as my title says, I try to help people find balance in life with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate, but also the food on our plate. And it's a tough time, no doubt. This last year has been more than challenging in so many ways for so many of us. And really, as a health coach, I listen individually to what your concerns are, what it is, whether it's that 15 quarantine that you added on, or you're just having trouble getting out and exercising because the gym is closed. Whatever it may be that is bothering you, I'm here to help you out. So I am giving free 1-hour health coaching sessions. So if you go to my website, balancelifebydebbie.com, you'll get all the information you need to get a hold of me, and we can connect, and I'd be there for you. Great. Now, also, I want to tell you that I'm a live streaming show and that I am live so you can become interactive with us. It's conversations that I want you to become part of. So to do that, you can call in. And the number here is 323-524-2599. So write that down, 323-524-2599. Now, if you're listening after the fact, or you can't get to the phone and you have a question or you want to make a comment, I'm streaming live right now on my Facebook page, and you can make a comment or ask a question there, and we'll get back to you post-show. If you're watching me on YouTube after the fact, make a comment. I always send the comments or questions to my guests, and we answer them no matter when you make them. So we love to hear from you. So give us your input to what we're talking about today. So on with the show. So are you confused about which oils are good for you and which oils are bad? Like so many people, I myself have trouble sorting out all the chatter about good and bad oils. So I decided to consult an expert. Udo Erasmus, he's the legendary health expert and founder of Udo's Choice, found in Whole Foods and other health food stores worldwide. Udo first pioneered flaxseed oil, as well as invented the machinery that brought healthy oils to the market. Udo is an acclaimed author, speaker, and expert on total sexy health. We're going to ask him about that. He has an 8-step process that takes into consideration all of the elements of whole health that includes our mental health, our presence and awareness, our life energy, and being in harmony with nature and humanity. He has sold over 250,000 books, and Udo's background includes studies in biochemistry, genetics, and biology, nutrition, and in addition, he holds a master's degree in counseling psychology. So today we're going to learn about Udo's insights into health based on nature, and all about the best oils, the herbs, and the foods for our health and longevity. So will you please welcome the man known as the father of fats, Udo Erasmus, to my show. Hello, Udo. We have an audience.
Yeah.
We have an enthusiastic audience for you today.
Apparently. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
Yay. This whole conversation about the confusion, which we're going to get into first, about good fats versus bad fats, cooking with oil, not cooking with oil, then what do you cook with, all of that, I think needs to be addressed. And I know you are the person to address it. But before we get into even that part, you have such a great story on how you got to where you are today and where you've been for the last, I would say, couple of decades at least. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, raised, and what happened that got you into the health industry.
Right. So I was born in 1942 in Poland, at that time was part of Germany, and on a farm. And before I was 3 years old, we were refugees fleeing in horse-drawn hay wagons, mothers with young children, out of Poland, being chased by communists in tanks and trucks, and fleeing out of Poland on roads that had no military presence. And the Allies were using the refugees, as target practice, shooting at us from planes.
Oh, lovely.
It was a pretty hectic early childhood. And because of that, I didn't know what I could trust and what I could depend on. And it made me very interested in finding out how things work. And so when I was 6 years old, I listened to people argue and I said, man, there must be a way that people can live together in harmony, and I'm going to find out how. And that's been my driver all my life. Anything we can do to make life better for everybody makes sense to do. Anything that doesn't make life better for other people doesn't make sense to do.
Because wow, you were really young to have that kind of insight. Yes.
Yeah. And so I look at it now, it's like that war was a gift, because it rubbed my nose in the importance of that kind of a focus. If I'd have been in if I'd have had an easy early life, I might have been less interested in that. I might have been more cavalier and maybe more careless. So that was, and that drove me into science to learn how things work, all in the service of how can we all live together in harmony. So how things work. Then I went into biosciences to find out how creatures work. Then I got into psychology to find out how thinking works. Then I got into medicine because I wanted to know how health works, because I wanted to help people get healthier, but found out we only learn about disease in medicine, and went back into biological sciences, biochemistry and genetics, because you're studying health when you're studying nature, because health was invented by life in nature. All our building blocks come from nature. And so food, water, air, and light are the building blocks for bodies that work, not drugs and not synthetics and not all of those stuff that we've invented in our industries, but life on the planet itself is where health comes from.
Yeah, the medical, it seems like if you need a doctor and you're sick, they're going to give you medication, put a Band-Aid on it. But if you go and think more about prevention, which is what you're talking about, and you use the elements that are there in nature that are for us to be well, and you use them to your advantage, you would never need a doctor. Not necessarily. There's maintenance things, but
I would say this: there's a place for disease management,
right?
But don't call it healthcare, because that's a misrepresentation of the service it provides. But there's a place for it. But health comes from nature, and I don't have a problem with if a truck ran over my leg and broke my bone and the bone was sticking out of my leg.
Oh well, that's different.
I would go to the doctor for sure.
That's different.
I wouldn't look for an herb to munch, right?
So, you have to have immediate medical attention for accidents and those kinds of medical emergencies. But even your healing process could be changed by the way you use nature to your advantage, So that's never a bad thing to have knowledge of, to be smart about.
Right, and we can prevent at least a lot of the degenerative diseases by living more closely aligned with nature and our own nature.
Absolutely.
That's the area that I find the most interesting.
So from there, did you start practicing at that age, or you were just really getting all the knowledge built up that you needed to understand?
I was really interested in understanding things. And I left university, and then I got married, and we had 3 kids, and my marriage broke up, and I was very upset, and I took a job as a pesticide sprayer.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. And why pesticide sprayer? Because pesticides are invented for only one reason: to kill living things. So I had a gardening job, and I had done the training. And so I took a job as a pesticide sprayer because I was upset. I was really careless. And I got poisoned by pesticides 3 years after starting the job. And I went to the doctor and said, "So what do you have for pesticide poisoning?" She said, "Nothing." That was it. That was
no protocol for that. Sorry.
Yeah. And then that was the day that it became really clear to me that my health is my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took the background that I had and then went into the journals, started reading the science about, since the body's made out of food, water, air, and light, I was looking at food and health, food and disease, mainly focused on food.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of searching for a solution for my issue, I learned about fats, which were the most boring part of my university education, and realized that they are the most sensitive of our nutrients. They need the most care. We give them the least care. And so more health problems come from damaged oils than any other part of nutrition. And more health benefits will come from making the oil change that the body needs from the damaged oils to the good oils than any other part of nutrition.
Interesting. So it's not surprising, but it is so, and it makes so much sense, but we're not really getting it right, are we? Because I don't know. I guess the food industry has taken over in so many ways, and fast food being fried food in bad oils and seed oils that are killing us and giving us heart conditions and cancers and autoimmune diseases, all kinds of things that are creeping in through the food industry. And the food industry, whether they know this information or not about good oil, bad oil, they don't care. Because whatever sells, right?
Right. When the oil industry began, which was around 1900, that's when the big oil industry began. Their main interest was shelf life, because then I could make oil, or you could make oil in Burbank, where you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could sell it in Johannesburg or in Tokyo,
right?
Or in Miami or in Buenos Aires. So you have a potentially very large market if you can get the oil to have a long shelf life, which by nature it doesn't. They're very sensitive to damage by light, oxygen, and heat. So these are like perishables. And so what the industry learned to do is to treat these oils first with Drano, which is sodium hydroxide,
Lovely.
Then with phosphoric acid, which is used to degrease windows commercially, then to bleach them, because the color molecules in the oil absorb light, and then the light damages the oil. So they bleach them. That turns them rancid. Now they got to be heated to frying temperature to clean up the mess they made. And when you heat oils to frying temperature, you damage about 1% of the molecules. And that's going to be in 1 tablespoon, more than 1 million damaged molecules for every one of your body's 60 trillion cells. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot of, 1% doesn't sound like a lot of damage.
But accumulatively,
when you find out for every tablespoon that you eat, you're getting more than 1 million damaged molecules for every one of the body's 60 trillion cells. And then you do that 2 to 4 a day, and you fry them on top of that, which damages them maybe 3 to 6 times more. And you do that for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Well, you're going to have created so many damaged molecules that didn't exist in nature, that are absorbed into your body, that your immune system has no way of breaking down and getting rid of, that pile up in your body, and everywhere where they pile up in your body, they interfere with something because they're the wrong shaped molecules. And so wherever they go, they interfere with what's supposed to be going on there, and they can't carry out what should be going on there. And when that piles up, you're blocking currents and molecular interactions, and you're basically, it's like a monkey wrench into the works.
And which down the line causes disease, of course.
And down the line, then, because
it's accumulative.
When you change the interaction between molecules, that's where disease begins.
So what's the answer? So you, through all of this research and knowledge, you've discovered the ones that kill us, why and how oils kill us. What's the answer? What are the oils that we should be eating, which we need to eat, which we don't just should ignore oil? So what do we need? I mean, being the father of good fats, break it down for us. Like,
okay. So it goes back to, and this is kind of how I think, when something goes wrong in nutrition and in physical health based on nutrition, then my question always is, well, how was it in nature before we got civilized? And if you ask that question, then you get the answer you get is life's mandate for how to eat and how to get your essential oils as well as your proteins and everything else was to eat fresh, whole, raw, organic, in season, local, and mostly plants.
Right.
That would be nature's mandate for us for the longest life and the best of health.
Right. And, that's there are some studies, me being well over my 60s now, there are studies that have come out that women postmenopausal are healthier, warding off disease and living longer who eat plant-based diets. And so I eat very limited animal products, but I'm thinking of taking them out altogether. So, I'm not surprised by this because new studies are coming out. And there's again, with oils and food in general, there's so much, all of the fad diets that are out there. Keto, which is protein, animal protein, good fats, and even though it is saying eat vegetables unprocessed across the board. And then there's paleo, which is also animal protein. And, all of the fads that are out there and all of the quick fixes are so confusing for people that they do talk about lifestyle, like the paleo lifestyle or the keto lifestyle. How do we know what's good for us, what for our own body? And what you just said kind of like generalized it and broke it down, I think, the best.
I would say like this. If you look at all of the diets, there may be some difference. Some people do better with bean diets and some people do better with
the bean protocol,
more fat diets, right? So if you're going to look at the universe of fat, there's only two things that you have to have that come from fats. And those are called omega-3 and omega-6, or alpha-linolenic acid and linoleic acid. Originally, they come from plants, but you can get derivatives of them in fish. You don't need the derivative because your body can make those derivatives that you find in fish oil if you get enough starting material of the basic plant-based omega-3s called alpha-linolenic acid. But most people don't get enough. Like 99% of the population does not get enough omega-3s for optimum health. The issue is not that you need fish. The issue is you need enough omega-3s in their natural state, undamaged, that your body has enough to do the conversion itself, wherever and whenever and how much it needs of these derivatives that you find in the fish oils.
So I want to break that down and how we can get those omega-3s and 6s, but we're going to take one quick break from one of my sponsors, and we'll be back right after this message. So sit tight. We'll be right back, everybody. I want to share with you a product I've been using for the last month, known as the most powerful antioxidant on earth. It's called My Vital C. My Vital C will not only help you feel healthier, but research shows it will aid in a longer life. And since using My Vital C, here are the things that I noticed: that I have no more restless sleep. It's so much easier now for me to fall asleep. And as you know, sleep is a great immune system booster. I'm also supporting my immune system with antiviral and antibacterial properties, and not to mention the high levels of antioxidants I'm receiving. So the bottom line here is I simply feel better. And now I'm recommending My Vital C to all my clients, my friends, and my family. To order this life-changing product, go to the link myvitalc.com/balanced life. Make sure you take advantage of the 25% discount on subscription. You can cancel at any time. Use the coupon Balanced Life for an additional $15 off your first order. Go to myvitalc.com/balanced life and check out this life-changing product right now. Okay, we're back. All right, and we're talking about how to get the good oils into your body, into your system, which are the omega-3s and the omega-6s. So how should we do it? What should we be doing? Let's just speak from the average person, because we're all individuals and process differently. But what should we be doing?
Okay, so I like the picture you had. Originally, the richest sources are seeds and nuts. They're anywhere from 25 to 60% fat, and of that, a percentage will be omega-3 and omega-6. Most seeds and nuts have very little omega-3, and most of them have quite a bit of omega-6. Those two are essential by a very specific definition. You have to bring them in from outside because you cannot make them in your body from anything else. Mm-hmm. And you require them to live and be healthy. If you don't get enough, your health will deteriorate. You will get deficiency symptoms. They are degenerative in nature. They get worse with time. And if you don't get enough long enough, you die. This is like the really important, essential building blocks for body construction and body function. And the third thing is, if you're not getting enough and you're falling apart, your health is going down the tubes, but before you die, you bring enough of the missing essential nutrient back into the food supply, then all of your symptoms from not getting enough are reversed and you get your health back. Because life knows how to make your body, provided you take responsibility here to make sure that you eat the right foods, that enough of those essential nutrients land in your body so life can do its job.
I like that. I know you have talked about before that you think of your body as a construction site, and that you can, how you construct it is basically how you're going to feel and how you're going to live it. And even if you are getting ill or if you have an illness, you can take care to put in the right things or to change what needs to be changed to the health, like what you were just saying. You can actually turn an illness around through putting in what you're missing. And in this case, like you're saying, these vital fats.
Right.
So,
in fact,
go ahead.
Yeah. In fact, your body is a major construction site. 98% of the atoms in your body today will have been removed and replaced if we meet 1 year from now. 98% of your body is rebuilt every year. That's why healing is possible. So if you're sick, then and it's physical, then what you have to do is you have to raise your standard for food intake. And if you do that consistently for a year, you will have rebuilt 98% of your body to a higher standard. That's why healing, that's the good news. You have to make small changes to completely rebuild your body.
I completely agree with you 150%. There's just no, food heals. If you're doing it right, it heals. Food is medicine. Medicine is food. I mean, you can really do it if you do it the right way. And knowing that we're sort of, like you said, resetting every year, we have opportunity. So we need to seize it. If something's like amiss, we know ourselves the best. We know when something's off. We know. I knew when I was starting to have hormone fluctuation that I need to be proactive. And if you do it in the right way, you can actually heal yourself. I love that. So with the seeds and the nuts, we must talk about the fact that they should be non-processed, right? So there are no preservatives, no chemicals, no additives. Salt should probably be something you add yourself if you're going to add a little bit like raw Himalayan salt or something to your nuts. And
fresh, whole, raw, organic.
Right. Okay. So that's what I wanted to clarify to make sure. And I know this is going to be also generalized, but how much should you be having per day of seeds and nuts?
Handful.
A handful. So some people have bigger hands than others. Yeah.
Yeah, they get more.
Right. Exactly. Which means they need more, probably.
You might. You might, or the way we do it, if you get the right balance of omega-3 and omega-6 in an oil made with health in mind, then we say a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day, mixed in food and the intake spread out over the course of the day.
Okay.
So that for most people would be 2 to 4 tablespoons of oil as the foundation, the food oil foundation for good health.
Okay, good to know. So now let's talk about what those oils should be and how they should be in their most sort of natural state and not cooked. Because this is where a lot of confusion comes in, is that people are cooking with olive oil, cooking with avocado oil, cooking with coconut oil, and think that they're getting the oil that they need, like we were just talking about, but they're really not, because they're destroying what you need by cooking with it. So let's talk about what those oils are that are the best ones, how we should use them, and how we shouldn't use oil.
So let me go back a little bit in the history of it. So when I found out how much damage is done to oils by the processing and by the food use, I said, I had been poisoned. I said, oh my God, I can't get healthy on oils like this. We should make them with health in mind. So I developed a method for making oils with health in mind, where they're protected from light, oxygen, and heat, which they're sensitive to damage by, from the time they're in the seed in nature's packaging, which is good packaging, to the time they've gone through the pressing, the filtering, the settling, the filling, and they're in brown glass bottles, in a box, in the fridge, in the factory, or the store, or the home. Because they need that kind of protection if you want them to maintain or retain their health benefits. And you got to treat them like perishable goods, because they're perishable goods. They're the most perishable of all of our nutrients.
So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's really important. So I created that industry because it was important, but it's a pain in the butt to have to do that, because most people don't like products that they have to take care of.
Oh yeah.
We'll do it for.
That's how fast food was born. That anything, the quick fix.
Right. And you want to be able to shove it under your bed and take it out, and 2 years later and take the dust off and eat it. But you can't do that with real foods. They're perishable.
So flaxseed oil obviously is something that you were the forefather of, and flaxseed oil we should be eating or having every single day, correct?
No, let me tell that story. So we started with flaxseed oil because the omega-3 was not known to be essential until 1981, which was the year after I was poisoned.
Okay.
And nobody was getting enough, and nobody was using flax oil. And what they were using was damaged and was toxic and was better used for paint.
Oh, wonderful.
You can use that stuff for paint, omega-3s for paint. And so we started by making flaxseed oil because it is the richest source of omega-3s, easily available and affordable. And I became omega-6 deficient on flaxseed oil because it has a lot of omega-3 and not enough omega-6. So if you use flax oil by itself, you will become omega-6 deficient.
Okay.
And when that happened to me, I said, I'm trying to help people get healthy. I think we need to make a blend that is better balanced. So we use flax, sunflower, sesame as the main ingredients. Sunflower and sesame only have omega-6s, no omega-3s. So we balance the omega-3s between flax, sunflower, and sesame, so we get the right ratio. And then we have some other things in it. There's 9 ingredients in that blend. And that's fundamentally what I switched to, and that's what I switch people to, especially when they find out, flax works for a while and then it seems not to work anymore because they've changed. They're now omega-6 deficient when they started omega-3 deficient. And you don't want to do that. You have to do it right.
Okay. And how do we use that on salads? We use it we can't cook with it because cooking with oil destroys it. So we use it. And you sell this combination of flax, right? Or yeah, that's what I thought. And we'll talk about where people can go to your website's up on the screen right now anyway, but we'll talk about where people can go to get this. And so then the oils that we think, and me as a health coach, that I recommend to clients and friends and family, my granddaughter who's just going to begin to start eating solid food, the oils that we talk about are olive oil, extra virgin, and avocado oil. And there's a lot of talk also about and things like some of the nut oils, like walnut oil, almond oil, but there's a lot of talk about coconut oil, which I think it's been really misrepresented as a health oil. And now I'm finding out more and more. I'm going to stop because it's huge on the keto diet. They have these like desserts called Keto Bombs that are made with coconut oil and cacao and a little bit of what you want to sweeten it with, like stevia or something, and you just put it like in ice cube trays and let them freeze or get cold in the refrigerator, and you've created a little dessert without eating sugar or having an unhealthy snack. But really, that isn't healthy, is it?
No, because coconut is notorious for not having virtually any omega-3s and almost no omega-6s either. Why that's used is because it's stable and people don't want to take the care. We started the original keto diet. We used to tell marathon runners that they should carb deplete. They were always carb loading.
Yeah.
We told them to carb deplete because you can only get 20 miles worth of carbs stored in your body, but the marathon is 26 miles. So they would drag their butts of the last 6 miles. It would be like dead tired when they finished. We said, no. You need to carb deplete. You need to make sure that your fat burning mechanism in your body is turned on full blast when you start the race, not hope for it to catch up halfway through. And so not everybody did it because we were giving completely contrary advice. But the ones who did, they came back and said, wow, that was amazing. After I finished running the marathon just on fats, I felt like I had enough energy to run another one.
Incredible.
So, and the omega-3s particularly increase the body's ability to burn fat. They decrease the body's ability to make fat because you don't want to make fat, you want to burn it in these situations. And they increase the body's ability to metabolize oxygen, which is where most of your energy comes from. So that means that it takes you longer to get tired and you recover quicker when you do get tired. And the omega-3s do that beautifully.
Yeah, God, that's fabulous.
And so that kind of a keto diet works. When you don't get the omega-3 and 6 in the right ratio and undamaged into that diet, keto will get you some weight loss, but it's not long-term sustainable for health.
I reckon when people come to me, I've been saying this makes more sense why now, but I know that isn't a sustainable diet for long term. I do say for short term, if you want to do something, if you're on a mission to lose weight, to go to that special event or whatever it may be that or for an athletic event, this is great. And, you can follow it and your body will efficiently burn fat, but it isn't sustainable. So, and then we talk about what is sustainable. So with the oils, let's talk about what should be on our shelves and how should we be using them?
On which shelf?
On our shelves or in our home. So
the most important thing, seeds and nuts or oils made with health in mind.
Okay, so what are those oils?
Olive oil, if it's extra virgin, is made with health in mind. So it's not damaged by processing, but has virtually no omega-3s and only 10% omega-6s. And the omega-9s that it has, the monounsaturates that it has, those your body can make out of sugar and starch. So these are not essential. So the number one thing you need to do, make sure you optimize your intake of the two essentials from oils, omega-3, omega-6, in the right ratio, undamaged. After that, you can use other oils, butter and coconut and lots of other oils or seeds and nuts, and they will just become fuel. But if you get too much of those and not enough of the essential ones, then you're not doing yourself a service.
So let's say, for instance, I'm going to use me as an example, which I often do on the show. So I have extra virgin olive oil. I do not cook with it, but I do have avocado oil, and I do use it to cook because we were talking earlier about my love of roasted vegetables, and you can't really roast them without oiling them first, So how should we be using, if I have, those are my two main oils, right? They're the ones I never run out of. I never will because I keep them. How should I be using them efficiently? And then what do I need in addition to get that ratio of omega-3s and 6s in my diet? How do I do that?
If health is your goal, you would not fry anything. And I'll tell you why that is. This is the bad news.
Wait, you're going to hold that. My second sponsor is we're going to take one more, and then we're going to talk about frying and why not. And people are going to be sad, but it's really true. We'll be right back right after this message. I have been a wine enthusiast for many decades, but for a while I had to stop drinking wine because of the sleepless nights and the headaches that I would have in the morning, even after only one glass. Does this sound familiar? So for the past 5 years, and since the start of my show, I've been looking for a healthy wine, and finally I found the answer I've been looking for: dry farm wines. Dry farm wines are lab tested for purity, just 12.5% alcohol or less, 0.15 grams of sugar or less per glass, very low sulfites, and free of toxic additives. Dry farm wines are dry farmed with healthy, biodiverse soil, and the taste, bright and vibrant due to no manipulation. I can't say enough about the amazing wines that I've tried. And now you too can drink wine and not worry about how it is negatively affecting your health. Just go to dryfarmwines.com/balanced life by Debbie, so you too can taste the love put into every bottle. All right. We're back. We're back with my guest. So Udo was just going to tell us about why we should not use oil, even good oils, to fry food, why we should never fry or saute with oil or use oil to cook. You have it.
Yeah. Oils are vindictive. They will treat you like you treat them. If you treat them with care, they will take care of your health. If you fry them, they will fry your health. Oils are most damaged of any nutrient when you overheat them. And in the frying pan, you damage them with light, oxygen, and heat all at the same time. So the recommendation is, if you're going to cook your food, because remember, nature's mandate was fresh, whole, raw, and organic. Right. But if you're going to cook food, use water for cooking. And then when the food is off the heat, then you add the oils for flavors, because they will enhance flavors, and it will improve the absorption of oil-soluble nutrients in your foods. So they have health benefits to be in foods. But frying is that, in fact, of all the worst things we've ever done to our food, the worst thing we've ever invented to do is to fry foods in fats and oils. Now, if you're going to fry anyway, then the harder the fat, the less damage you do. So butter and lard and coconut are better frying oils, but they're not better. They're just less bad. And
aren't those the ones that cause high cholesterol though, and blockage and all kinds of things that?
Yeah, that's the downside. And part of the story on coconut is that when coconut became really popular in its present in the kind they're using now, they finally found out that actually they increase LDL cholesterol. Mm-hmm. But if you eat the coconuts, you don't get that increase in cholesterol, which is really interesting. So they think maybe it's the fiber in the coconut that prevents the oil from raising your cholesterol levels.
Interesting.
So then eat the coconut. But somebody wrote a book on coconut oil that made it very popular. And in that book, they made claims for the health benefits of coconut oil that can all be legitimately made for omega-3s. But there was no foundation for any of these claims they made in the research literature. So they just made claims for the oil that made it sound like this is something you absolutely have to have.
Yeah.
But it has no omega-3s and has virtually no omega-6s. This is not something you need.
Okay. Yeah. And there's you're right. It's been a big misconception, and especially in the health world as functional medicine type practitioners like I am. This is new to me, and I've learned about this in the last couple of months. And so I'm pulling back with my clients on doing this, because I was thinking that it's a good alternative. It's one of the good oils that you cook it. There's the whole thing about smoke point. Higher smoke point means that you could cook with it, but
no, it actually means you can get more damage in the oil before you notice.
Yeah, but we weren't told that. That's not what this is like. If this information has universal, this is what you should be cooking with. So, all right. So there's a reason to not fry. So you're saying to people, are you basically advocating, let's talk about the other things that constitute a healthy diet. Mm-hmm. And we got to assume that the average person is not going to eat raw. So how do you, and what about animal products? What's your feeling on that, and how do we navigate that?
I would say like this: look at what you're doing right now. And, most people know what they're doing, but look at what you're doing and go from there in the direction of less fried, more cooked in water, more steamed, more raw. Go in that direction. Mm-hmm. In the kind of foods you eat, go from wherever you are to less meat, less eggs, less dairy, less fish. That's the dirtiest meat on the planet now. And go more in the direction of more plant-based whole foods. If you're eating junk foods, go from where you are in the direction of less and less processed foods. So I'm not saying where you should end up, but go in a direction. If you're looking for better health. If you don't care about health, of course, none of this matters at all.
No, but this is a health show. So most people that are on YouTube or watching me live care about their future and care about being preventative and care about it. My whole mantra is longevity with quality. So this is one way to get that. So in terms of, I had a thought about diet is, how do we get our protein if we're not eating animal protein? And what do you think of like nut butters and things like that? Because I know they are a good source of protein, but are they damaging in any way if they're raw and processed 100% nut butter? What do you think?
Well, first of all, the thing about needing animal products for protein, I'd like to send an elephant your way to answer that question.
Right, because they don't. Yeah, well, but an elephant isn't a
eats grass.
human. Yeah,
What?
but an elephant isn't human. Like I don't.
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
proponent of gluten-free for most people. Not everybody is gonna,
Yeah.
but that's because it's one of the proteins in it is gliadin, and gliadin is made from the seed of grass, and cows can eat grass because they have 4 stomachs, so they can, but we should not be eating grass because we don't know how to digest it. It makes us ill, which is part of a gluten problem.
Okay, so elephant, then I'll send you a zebra. They only eat grass, and they obviously have very muscled bodies. That's my point of this, right?
Yes, you're right.
Then I'll send you a horse, like a racehorse, and you know how incredibly muscled they are, but they only eat grass. Then I'll send you a gorilla. They can flip you over their shoulder and throw you into the bushes, and they just eat leaves. And so then the last one, I'll send you 300 million Hindu Brahmins. In the Brahmin caste, they've been vegetarians for 5,000 years at least. No fish, no fish oil, no animal product except about a tablespoon of soured milk for probiotics. Where are they getting their protein from? There's tons of protein. There are bodybuilders who are super muscled that eat only plants. There's enough protein in grass to make the steak that you think you need to eat. So the steak is made out of grass. So all you're eating is concentrated grass. Those amino acids have to be in the plant for the animal to be able to make them, because they can't make them all either. Mm-hmm. So this idea that you can't get enough protein from plants has never been true, and came from the industry that makes their money advertising protein products of animal origin. So the pork industry, the beef industry, the egg industry, that's their thing. Oh, you can't do it on plants. Yes, you can.
Okay, so
300 million Hindus can't be wrong.
So tell me what you advocate as a quote unquote a healthy diet, what a person should be eating in a day and how it should look. Or you can even use you as an example and how
I could use me as an example. I eat when I'm hungry, mm-hmm. and I do a kind of 8 hours eat, 16 hours not. Most of the time. I'm not 100% that way. I eat mostly plants. I eat a lot of raw. I love broccoli raw. I use nut butters. My particular one is sesame, so tahini. I dump the tahini oil. I put my oil in it because it's a better balanced oil. Mm-hmm. And I don't use it smoked or it's basically raw.
Or heated, yeah.
Yeah, I don't use it heated. I don't use it salted. It's just like the ground seed. And it's pretty stable. I get it in glass jars because plastic leaches into oil. Plastic leaches into oils quicker than into water. I don't want plastic in my food because that doesn't belong in the body and interferes with things. So, and I munch on fruits and vegetables a lot. I occasionally eat a little bit of dairy, especially right now because my daughter lives with me. She escaped from New York during COVID with her 3-year-old son, my grandson.
Oh, so you're with your grandson too.
So they're living here with me, and she uses dairy, and so I eat some dairy. But generally speaking, when I'm by myself, I keep it really simple. The closer the food is to the way nature originally made it, the more likely it is to be able to support my health.
Right. Absolutely. Or anybody's.
The law on the planet, right?
Yeah. No manipulation. Yeah. I mean, if we look throughout the world and, the blue zones in the world and the studies that were done in the blue zones, I mean, basically it's the components of a Mediterranean diet, which again is all healthy from nature, non-manipulated, non-processed food, good oils. So you're having good fats. And then there's all kinds of other things, which I want to touch on a little bit, coming away from the food. Oh, mention the best. Can you do the list of all the best herbs that you think are really anti-inflammatory and the best things we should be using to take, to flavor our food?
Yeah, the best herbs are actually spices. Yes. And not only they give you all kinds of amazing flavors, but turmeric and ginger and pepper and cayenne and black seed and mustard and citrus fruits. What else? Oh, garlic and onions.
Garlic and onions. Yeah, I know that's.
Oh, there you go. All of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No,
there. Yeah. Thanks, Kurt. You put it up. But if you're listening, all those things. Yeah. And you can use them to flavor.
And the point of that is you're getting the flavors, but you're getting, I mean, most of these spices have antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, anti-cancer, anti-diabetes, anti-cardiovascular, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant properties.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you get, and powerful ones.
Right. And
so using those in our foods, not only do you get an enormous variety of different flavors, way more than you get from animal products, by the way.
Yeah.
When people say, oh yeah, rabbit food, plants are rabbit food. No, they're not. If you want your steak to taste like something, you put rabbit food on it.
Yeah. That's how you take these spices, and that's how you flavor them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So those are super healthy. And, you know, the more you get used to using those and the better you get at using those, the more benefits you get. Look, for instance, in India, they have about the same amount of cardiovascular disease as we have in North America, but they have 1/8 of the cancer. And why is that?
Because they're spices.
Because of their spices, like curry from Delhi, or, you know, curry and garam masala, and their mixtures of herbs that they use. And they have rich herbs.
That makes so much sense to me.
Every continent and every climatic zone has its own set of such different but spices with all of these health benefits.
That is incredible. You know, I realized I'm looking at a clock that's wrong, and our time is up, and I wanted to get to the 8-step process of your total sexy life, or total sexy health, but we're going to have to just do a whole other show with you and talk about everything else you're about. So let's do that in the next couple of months. In the meantime, I want you to give your website for my listeners and a final word to say goodbye.
Okay, the website, I have two. One is Udos Choice, udoschoice.com. That's where I talk about products, digestive enzymes and probiotics, oils, and other things. And then the other one is theudo.com, theudo.com, and we have lots of educational material and some courses. And
I'm here to vouch for that, because you do. Udo, I want to thank you for your time and your expertise. We really got a breakdown on fat and what we should and shouldn't be doing. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you, my audience, for joining us today, because, you know, as I always say, I would like you to go out and find those conversations that connect to a healthier you. Goodbye, Udo. Thank you so much. I'll have you back.
Thank you.